Welcome back, True Seeker. March 1st, 2023. And big headline this morning: Georgia football player Jalen Carter, not to be confused with longtime Georgia politician who's on his deathbed right now, Jimmy Carter, but no Jalen Carter. Today, the police issue a warrant for his arrest. They're saying that the deadly January 15th car accident. Remember, this happened on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Well, his actual birthday, January 15th, in Georgia, his home state. On the 15th, right after Georgia became 15-0 in champion or for the season, winning the college football championship on January 9th. I know people forget January is a long time ago. Georgia won the football championship. They went 15-0. And then 6 days later, one of their players dead on the 15th, again on MLK's birthday. And you wouldn't believe it, the guy that they're now blaming for the death, his birthday is April 4th, the day MLK was killed in history. What are the odds, you guys? Georgia, where year after year we're showing the rituals they do with Georgia sports teams, whether it's college and pro, paying tribute to MLK. Now we got a Georgia football player dead on MLK's birthday, and the man blamed, again, having a birthday that's the anniversary of MLK's death. This is just like what they did in the Super Bowl, right? It's just like what they did in the Super Bowl. They have it on Abe Lincoln's birthday. The team that plays in Lincoln Financial Field makes it. Abe Lincoln, who freed the slaves. And first Super Bowl, 2 black quarterbacks. And then who do they have singing the national anthem? A guy whose birthday is the day in history that Lincoln was killed. And he just happened to be 44 years old. The number of killing, as we'll get to again, that's the day MLK was killed, 4-4. It's Jalen Carter's birthday. It's the big number in Georgia. But understand, all of this stuff is perfect ritual. These are all rituals. And the other thing is, for these guys to continually have these perfect birthdays, it also speaks to the other point I'm always making. This guy right here, Jalen Carter, whose name is like Jimmy Carter, who's making this headline, probably the biggest headline of his life, within, we're not that far from the Jimmy Carter death announcement. That's going to be coming any day. And again, for this to just all be so perfectly synced up, Manchurians. That's the word, Manchurians. These people are born and bred to be. They're born and bred to be for the Oval Office. They're born and bred to be for the football field, and everything else that we cover. The people who are in the headlines day after day, the rituals are just way too perfect. And it's like, look at all the numbers they're showing in the screen, right? He's number 88. The other guy's number 77. The girl's in a number 11 jersey. Everyone's in master number jerseys. Again, these are all rituals based in numbers. The big secret society in D.C., the Masons, etched on their temple is all is number. Anyhow, notice Jalen Carter, the accident was January 15th, 79 days before his upcoming birthday. And the arrest warrant is March 1st, 34 days before his upcoming birthday. Where do the numbers 79 and 34 align? In the word murder, right? They're blaming his death on him. They were saying they were racing each other. That's the news story. It was a race, and that's what led to the deadly accident. But if you're new here, Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, you learn this language, you see through all of the rituals. Murder, 79. Murder, when you use numerology, 34. If you're new here, murder equals 79. We just take the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, up to Z is 26. Turn the letters to numbers, add up the value of the word. Murder is 34 when you take the alphabetic order and use numerology. So the difference is M is 13 in the green cipher, M is 4 in the blue cipher, because the numerology of 13 is 1 plus 3 is 4. U, the second letter in murder, is 21 in the green cipher because it's the 21st letter. It's 3 in the blue cipher because 2 plus 1 is 3. R's 18 in green, 9 in blue because 1 plus 8 is 9, so on. Murder, 79, alphabetic order, 34 with numerology, perfect ritual. And Notice the name Jalen Carter has Gematria 44, going with his 4-4 birthday, going with MLK killed on 4-4, going with Malcolm X killed on a 44 date numerology, going with the shooting they just had at Michigan State on the 44th day of the year on the same day. Again, the Michigan State Spartans, named after the warriors from ancient Greece, on the same day that happened. The U.S. and Greek militaries were it just happened to having a joint military exercise when military and shooting equal 44 as well. Sort of words like officer and department and soldier. Again, 44 is a number connected to killing. And that's because this code is way older than English. The ancient knowledge of numbers and their relationships was encoded into the English language. 4 has been associated with death from civilizations that are way, way older than America. So 4 is a number of death. Georgia is the 4th state in order of statehood. And like we're always educating, doesn't matter if it's a college or pro championship or an award ceremony, there's always ritualistic deaths connected to the championship. That's what this really is. This is another ritualistic death. Devin Willock, clearly a ritualistic death, along with the young woman. And now here's the follow-up to the story. I mean, seriously, it took the police this long to figure out that they were racing? It seriously took them, all this time to figure out they were racing. Really? I mean, no, this is news by the numbers, ritual by the numbers, day after day. And we'll see where the story goes from here. Jalen Carter is supposed to be an NFL prospect. But keep in mind, the news is also safe for a Wednesday. We see a lot of mass shootings in the news on Wednesdays, and that's because Wednesday has gematria of 37 and 44, as does Georgia 37 and 44, just like shooting is 37 and 44. This isn't a shooting, but just making the point about how these numbers come together. In this case, it's a Georgia death story. And if you're asking how the 37's there for Georgia, or the 44 is there for Wednesday, just running the alphabetic order in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. And for the record, the first day of March, where that also fits in, is March has gematria of 29 and 43. So does the name Carter, 29 and 43. Football, also 29 and 43. So... But yeah, the Athens Clark County Police Department has issued an arrest warrant for top NFL draft prospect Jalen Carter in connection with its investigation into the fatal crash in January that left a Georgia football player and recruiting staffer dead. Police said in a news release Wednesday that they are seeking to arrest Carter for reckless driving and racing as part of their investigation into the fatal crash on January 15th. Again, that's MLK's birthday, 2023. Carter and recruiting staffer Chandler LaCroix were operating their vehicles in a manner consistent with racing prior to the crash, police said. LaCroix and Devin Willock, a third-year offensive lineman who was riding in her vehicle, died in the crash. Carter's agent did not immediately reply to request for comment. I actually haven't looked into Chandler LaCroix. I'm sure she's also part of the ritual, but what happened here? Did I lose part of the... that is so weird. Maybe I put it in the wrong... There we go. Okay, I don't know why that didn't show up the first time, but anyhow, notice also the date of the wreck, January 15th, right? The majority of the world writes that date 15/1, like 151. Notice how from Jimmy Carter's birthday to this news of Jalen Carter is 151 days later. For the record, 151 is the 36th prime number, and MLK also equals 36. Back in 2020, they say January 15th is the day that coronavirus arrived in the U.S. to launch the pandemic. Pandemic in gematria equals 151 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. So, again, you just got to say, what are the odds? What are the odds that's so perfect? That from Jimmy Carter's birthday to this arrest of Jalen Carter, it lines up just like that. The exact numbers that would factor in with the date of the incident. And then also... when we see these tragedies happen with these college football players, we always see how it's synced up with the coach. Kirby Smart, coach of Georgia. He turned 47 right before he went 15-0. 47 is the 15th prime number. They won it in the Rams stadium. Rams equals 15. And don't forget what they did last year with the Rams in Georgia. Just to make a point about this 44 thing, Last year, the Rams won on the 44th day of the year after Georgia won the championship. And notice how Matt Stafford equals 44. He went to Georgia. He won it with the Rams on the 44th day of the year. Georgia wins. Then Stafford with the Rams on the 44th day of the year. Now this a year later, bringing back the 44 after another championship. And again, just going 15-0, Georgia does in LA in the Rams Stadium this year. Right after Smart turns 47, the 15th prime. But anyhow, from Kirby Smart's birthday, born on the 23rd, wins the championship in 23. Devin Willock dies 23 days after his birthday. Now 68 days after his birthday. He's like, well, what do I need? Yeah, sure. You can arrest Mr. Carter. He's not going to be with us next year anyway. But anyway, it's 68 days after his birthday. Devin Willock, who's dead, 68. How perfect. And when Georgia beat Alabama the year prior, they did win by a difference of 15 points before the Rams went on to win. And Devin Willock, again, forwards and backwards. Again, these are the 4 base ciphers. 58, just like how Georgia beat TCU by 58 points, 65-7. Notice Devin Willock's also 139, which is the 34th prime number. Kind of like how the arrest today for the Devin Willock death comes 34 days before his upcoming birthday, where we began. And here, let me look at the name Chandler LaCroix, because it is the one thing I've neglected this far. Let's see where it fits in. Chandler, 65. Oh, there's the winning score of the game. Oh, Chandler, 151. Did we not just talk about it? There's another 151. Chandler's also 43, like football in March. Here's the latest news on March. And then if you're new here, 38, we talk about the most with death. Words like death, murder, killing, RIP, they all equal 38. And see the full name. Chandler LaCroix. 71's the 20th prime. Death is 20. 73 is sacrifice and ritual sacrifice. 73 is also the 21st prime. The man arrested today is 21 years old. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 143. Again, American football is credited to a Scottish Rite Freemason. And ultimately, all of these rituals, again, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. The Jesuits run the whole show. The Society of Jesus equals 71 and 235. But yeah. Jesuit 78-84 like LaCroix. But go figure. Chandler 65, the winning score of the game. And again, if you guys are new here and thinking this is all some kind of coincidence, you should look into the resume. Last year when Georgia won the championship over Alabama, we called that before week 2 of the college football season even happened. And 2 years in a row, we called Georgia to start the year 8-0 because 2 years in a row, their 8th game was against the Florida Gators. And notice how Florida Gators is 80. Notice that. Notice how Gators is also 80. And notice how Georgia Bulldogs is 80. So just pay attention. Anytime Georgia's starting the year against or has their 8th game against the Florida Gators, there's a good chance they're starting the year 8-0. But back-to-back years, they had the same thing. And again, I mean, there's a million things along the way. But, yeah, last year, when they beat Alabama, again, we had everything about that figured out. We even had it figured out how it was connected to the Devil Went Down to Georgia singer, because it was all about 25 and the Pope. Devil 25, Pope 25. Alabama picked up their 25th loss all time against Georgia, 25 days from the Pope's birthday. And then the Devil Went Down to Georgia singer died. And then the Georgia Guidestones came down. I mean, there's a lot to get into. But again, you guys, it's because, like I said, people like Jalen Carter and probably also people like Devin Willock. It's not to say that some people on the Georgia football team aren't like you and I and didn't work real hard and get a scholarship and make it on the team. But certain guys on these teams, they're not like you and I. They're Manchurians. They're born and bred to be. Jalen Carter, 44, born on 4-4, made to be a Georgia football star and an NFL-worthy player, and ends up getting used in a ritual like this. And again, at the same time that we're about to read about the death of Jimmy Carter. And like I just said, it's all synced up with Jimmy Carter. Again, because these are Manchurians. So anyway, just wanted to cover the latest news and remind people what's going on in the world and why they should stop. I mean, really, you guys, we should stop supporting it all. I mean, stop getting in debt to go get a worthless piece of paper. And for anyone who's offended by that, oh, college degree is not a worthless piece of paper. Yeah, in some cases it's not, but in most cases it is. I mean, what is it? 80% of America never uses their college degree. Yet, how many people are 40 some years old and still, up to their neck in student loan debt from when they were 20? You know, that's the American story. And look at these universities. Do these look like ethical institutions when they're doing this day in and day out? It's not just Georgia. I mean, it's going on all across the nation. Been proving this for a decade straight, year after year, season after season. Just wait until March Madness comes around. Are they going to sacrifice another Jesuit basketball player on March 22nd again this year during March Madness? Don't be surprised if they do. Don't be surprised if they do. But and it's not just March 22nd. It's just, anytime these tournaments roll around, these championships, death, death, death. Kansas wins the 83rd March Madness. What happens 83 days into the NFL season? John Hadel, Kansas athlete, football star, he's dead in his 83rd year of life. Not an accident. Not an accident. Football's 83, so is murder. But in the NFL, song Murder by Numbers in 83. But it's the same stuff year after year. It's just like how we had our future in for the Chiefs on August 24th, 2022, when Len Dawson died on Kobe Bryant Day from Philly, exactly 172 days before the Super Bowl, while the city of Kansas City was 172 years old. Travis Kelce, 172, gets to play his brother. The city of brotherly love. Manchurians, rituals, born and bred to be, rigged outcomes, planned outcomes, outcomes that were probably scripted before you and I were even here. Don't be surprised if this stuff's scripted 20, 30, 40 years out. Don't be surprised if the day Jalen Carter, the Manchurian, was contrived, this story was written for a future planned news story. Look into the Newsbenders from the 1960s, British show about writing the news years and years in advance, like writing a novel, a story, a planned script for the masses so they just go along with the ruling class who makes the news's agenda. People can't fathom what's going on because their minds are too small. Why are their minds so small? Because of what the masses, or not the masses, but because of what the rulers did to them. Chemically dumbed down from birth with all the jabs, chemically dumbed down from all the poison in the food, dumbed down from slave school, totally distracted their whole lives, not even trying to excel themselves, sitting on their ass, playing games, watching other men play games. You know what I mean? The American recipe. So let me see real quick if that Chandler LaCroix, she has a birthday out there. See if there's any information for her. It's a weird way to phrase it. She took birth on Monday, June 8th. Her birthday is also 6/8. Okay, multiple sites have her birthday as 6/8. Don't you find that interesting that her birthday is 6/8 and she dies next to Devin Willock? Devin Willock, 68. Today's news, 68 days after Kirby Smart's birthday. Her birthday just happens to be 6/8. Could also write her birthday as 8/6, right? That's the other thing, 8/6. They can be written 6/8 or 8/6. Caskets go 6 feet deep or 8 feet long, 8/6. Blood sacrifice, 86. Human sacrifice, 86. 86 to get rid of. Suppose it's just another coincidence. Her birthday is June 8th is the day, leaving 206 days left in the year. I thought so. I had to double check it. Seattle, Washington is the 68 city, and Seattle's the 206 area code. There's a number of people who are famous in Seattle who died on that day in history. But in Jewish gematria, sacrifice equals 206. So how can it all be so perfect? Is any of this story even real? Did these people even really die in a car crash? If they're really dead, I would bet on they didn't die in a car crash. I'd bet the car crash is the contrived scene to explain the ritualistic death, and we can start to see why these people were chosen. A guy whose name equals 6'8" and a girl born on 6'8" after they win the championship, 68. And notice how championship is 68 and 58, just like Devin Willock, right? 68-58. They won by 58 points in the championship. And notice also that championship is 193. That's the 44th prime number. Talking a lot about 44 today with Georgia. And the man born on 4-4. But yeah, initially when this happened, I did a lazy decode because the only point I really wanted to make is they just went 15-0. And then on the 15th, one of their players is dead. He lives his whole life, and then he just happens to die on the 15th. And the thing is, you guys, if these people are Manchurians, like I'm saying, which I'm pretty sure I'm right about, who's to say they haven't been mind controlled from birth? Like if you're saying, well, why wouldn't Jalen Carter speak up and claim his innocence? Who knows what's going on with Jalen Carter? Again, go back to George Springer. Remember in Sports Illustrated? Years in advance said that the Astros will win the 113th World Series, and the cover athlete was George Springer, who ended up being the MVP of the 113th World Series. When they interviewed him after he won the World Series and MVP, they said, "George, tell us about how this feels." He's like, "Honestly, I feel like I've been blacked out the whole time. I can't remember anything." It's like, really? That's your response to winning the World Series and being MVP? You've been blacked out and can't remember anything. And he's not the only athlete to say something like that on camera. Again, what is really going on, you guys? What is really going on with these star players? All these 7-foot NBA players who don't know their dad. How's that possible? Man, what a big coincidence. Hardly anyone grows to be 7 feet, but you got all these guys in the NBA who don't know their dad who are 7 feet tall. Is it possible their dads are former players? Is it possible that they're breeding the Kareem Abdul Jabbar like animals on the farm? Like I was saying, the whole LeBron passing Kareem thing was perfectly synced with Giannis. You think Giannis is Kareem's son? I wouldn't be surprised in the least. How could that be? Giannis is from Greece. You don't think they can put Kareem on a plane and have him go breed with a nice big Greek lady? I mean, come on. Anyway, you guys, we'll leave it there for now. Planting seeds. Hopefully people are waking up. And, oh, yeah, just because all my haters love to say it. Again, congrats to the winners. We help produce more every day. Here's Michael Fisher last night. Great calls again. Made $200 off a $5 bet. And for all you guys who don't support the Patreon, this is the kind of knowledge you're missing out on. This is the way I preach. Bet small, win big, play smart, manage your bankroll. And by the way, you guys, this Friday, we'll do our first broadcast. I've been decoding sports for years. I think actually an even better way to use the knowledge than decoding sports is decoding the market and how to plan financially in an intelligent way, trying to escape the slave grind. So that's going to be another new focus that we'll be doing on the Patreon, talking about saving techniques, how to escape your slave job, how to save up enough money to start your own business. There are ways to make that very achievable for almost all people if you have a patient and dedicated plan that's about a decade or so. If you're like 20 years old right now and hate your slave job and don't know what the future is going to be, these are the kind of things we're going to be talking about, how to escape that situation and get on a better path. And thank you to everyone who will support the Patreon in this coming month. And hold on, we are getting a caller. I wasn't planning on taking calls, but yeah, that is the new thing. It'll be Monday, Friday. We'll talk about the financial stuff every week on Patreon. 916.
Hey, Zach, I don't know if you covered the Clemson Virginia game, but Terry Holland, he was the ex-coach for the Cavaliers. He died on 2/26 2 days ago, and Virginia ended up becoming 22-6.
Oh, right after his death. Yeah, that's kind of how they do it.
Yeah. And it was Clemson's coach 666 games too. So
I see.
Another one.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right, take care. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even aware of that, but that's why I'm glad the knowledge is getting out there, because just more and more people are catching on. I mean, that's exactly what it is, a ritualistic death. on the date, and then the team's record becomes that right after. And that game was yesterday, 228. Here, since we're talking about Martin Luther King Jr., I'll make one more point. Notice how when you write out United States of America, it's 228, right? And Martin Luther King Jr. is the only born American with a holiday named after him. His name is also 228. But remember, that wasn't his birth name. That was the name that he assumed. He assumed it after Martin Luther, the Protestant Reformation leader who wrote the 95 Theses, only to be assassinated on the 95th day of 1968. And for the record, huge Catholic number 68. The Club of Rome was established 3 days after MLK's assassination. But again, this point about 228, Martin Luther King Jr., United States of America. If you look into the 228th day of the year, the king of rock and roll, Elvis, died that day. The queen of soul, Aretha, died that day. Babe Ruth died that day. So many big names have died on the 228th day of the year. Martin Luther King Jr. had to die to get the holiday named after him in the U.S., which is a nation of killing, right? It's a nation that began with a genocide. Hey, just for the record, genocide's another 44-word, like military, like execution, like kill, like shooting. Again, this long 44 thing. And now we're talking about what happened here in Georgia, the fourth state. But the word death, you don't see the 228 in the base ciphers, but there is a cipher where you just multiply the alphabetic order times 6, Sumerian gematria. Death is 228. So he's talking about how yesterday on 228, the team's record became 22-6 right after the former coach died on 2/26. You see? And that's why I say, I mean, this whole system, you guys, going to school, supporting these games, all this stuff. Really, there just needs to be a mass uprising. I'm done with I mean, you guys, we live in the information age. Do you really need to go pay, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, 100,000 a year for tuition to get information? I mean, we live in an age where there's just information abundance. There's an abundance of everything, really. There's an abundance of housing. There's an abundance of agriculture. I mean, we live in a nation where the government's been paying farmers to destroy their crops. And now, and then they're giving all these headlines. Oh, inflation, Russia, Ukraine. All of a sudden, every egg farm's on fire. Eggs are through the roof. I mean, you can't see that all of this stuff's just a big, sick manipulation and joke. And then the news doesn't really cover anything in a real way. They just cover it in a propaganda storyline-based way. Oh, well, because of Russia, Ukraine, eggs are now $9 a crate. It's like, well, why is every egg farm catching on fire right now? Why is there a new avian flu that's just wiping out egg-laying hens? Really? Seems all very coincidental. Again, you guys, we're witnessing the destruction of society. And for people who don't understand why that would be done by the people who rule over us, these people rule over the world, you guys. America's not a sovereign nation. It's part of the New World Order, which is the Jesuit World Order, which is the Catholic Church, which considers itself the ruler of the world. And that's what they've done throughout history. They're like, okay, this is now our bread and butter population. We're going to shift it over here now. Now this is our bread and butter population. That you for people who don't understand, the Jesuits have run China for longer than America's existed. So all of this stuff, you guys, all of this stuff, it's all being manipulated, manufactured. People are being exploited. They might have realized on the accounting books, they're like, you know what? Why don't we start running the U.S. more like Vietnam? Vietnam, we got all these people. They're so subservient to government. They don't complain about the pennies they make a day as they make the nice Nikes that make the fat profits for, the shareholders for Nike. Why not just create America into even more of a slave class than it already is? They'll be appeased. We'll still give them the Cheetos in the football games. They'll settle. They'll settle for the slave labor, And that's the other thing, too, where we are in the game, too, right? That's the thing, too, just phasing out people. They don't need people. They got AI. They want climate change initiatives, less people, less carbon emissions, computers that do jobs better than people. Again, if people don't pull their head out of their ass, there's going to be a lot less people here, and they're not going to know what hit them. They should know by now everything that's going on in the world, but yeah, it's one agenda after the next. It's one distraction after the next. And again, we're a decade in and trying to make a difference, but in the age of censorship and algorithms, it becomes harder and harder. So with that said, thank you to everyone who does share the work and does try to wake up their fellow family, associates, friends, classmates, co-workers, whatever it is. if you're not speaking out, and I know why some of you guys give up on speaking out because you feel like people are hopeless, but you should still always be trying to wake up somebody. Maybe your friends and family and coworkers and classmates are too stubborn, but I don't know. I think all of us who see what's going on, we should all be finding out some kind of way to get some knowledge and information out there to help wake up the sleeping masses. So, anyhow, the next 9/11. Well, it's only a matter of time, right? They always got to have their big event to. That's the whole motto, right? Order out of chaos. Okay, that's it for now, True Seeker. Till next time. Oh, snap. Right as I say that, all of a sudden super chats pop up. Let me say thank you to Haroon. I appreciate that. I was just about to close out, and then it showed all of a sudden there was a super chat. And shout out to congrats to the winners. And hold on, actually. Let me make sure that nobody else gave a super chat. I don't want to be rude. Let me say thank you to the super chatters. Okay, those were they just came in at the last minute. All right, those were the only two. I appreciate it. Thank you. Fitting amount for the stream. $4 talking about the fourth state, Georgia. Thank you, Modoc Roughstock. I appreciate that. 3.8 earthquake in Buffalo. Again, earthquake has that gematria 163, the 38th prime. And again, even Jesse Ventura over a decade ago told people about the military and its technology that can create earthquakes. We all know what they just did in Turkey. Been talking about it. And again, for all you guys who just hang out on Gematria Effect Sports, realize I do 90% of the videos I post. Probably even a higher percentage than that on GematriaEffectNews 25 right now. That is my most active channel. So if you're not on GematriaEffectNews 25, you are missing out. All right, Eric, enjoy the catch up. I'm sure I'll be back later today because I'm sure there'll be a lot more headlines today. By the way, just something I'm looking out for today in the news. Anything election related, it's the 60th day of the year. We know the 60th presidential election is upcoming next year. And we all know what happened to Trump's ex-wife last year in the huge 60 ritual. So keep your eyes peeled for headlines today. Jimmy Carter, again, they told us he's in his final days over a week ago. On the 54th day of the year, if you guys don't know, Jimmy Carter equals 50. Here, if you guys missed this headline, here, I want to share this to you guys real quick, actually. Look at what they did on the 54th day of the year for Jimmy Carter. This was after they said he's on his deathbed. NPR puts out this story on February 23rd, the 54th day of the year, about how he was the president who fought guinea worm. It's like... Again, you guys, learn this code and just see how the news is just by a code each day. On the 54th day of the year, they got to tell you about Jimmy Carter and guinea worm. 54 days after Georgia won the championship will be the 63rd day of the year, which is 3 days from today, which is what? A Saturday? Today's the 60th day of the year. Upcoming election's the 60th. Tomorrow's the 61st day of the year. Washington, D.C., 61. President is 52. It'll be 52 days after Georgia won the championship. The day after that's the 62nd day of the year. I'd say there's a pretty good chance he doesn't make it past Saturday. Jesuits do love Sunday. That's the other thought. But Jimmy Carter, over the years, the number I've talked about the most with him is 54. We'll end up seeing if he ends up dying 54 days after they won the championship. It's possible. But yeah. Jimmy Carter on the deathbed, and then all of a sudden the Georgia football player Jalen Carter. All right. Hey, thanks again, Rustin Gematria. I see that. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing with Jimmy. So, till next time, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.